The room was thick with tension as the heart monitor's steady beep slowed. Andrew Harrison, one of America's wealthiest men, lay dying in his mansion's master bedroom, converted into a hospital suite with the best medical equipment money could buy. Family members crowded around, brothers, sisters, cousins, nieces, nephews, all dressed in expensive black clothing, their faces showing varying degrees of grief and calculation. No one paid attention to the beautiful black woman who had slipped into the room an hour ago. She sat quietly in the corner, her eyes never leaving Andrew's face. When the room emptied briefly as the doctor called a family meeting in the hallway, she moved quickly to his bedside and took his hand. "I'm here, my love," she whispered. Andrew's eyes fluttered open, focusing on her face. A smile transformed his pale features. "Olivia," he breathed, his voice barely audible. "You came." "I promised I would," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I'll always keep my promises to you." His fingers tightened around hers. 8 years wasn't enough. I should have told them. I should have. "Shoo," she soothed, wiping a tear from his cheek. "We had our reasons. I never regretted a single day with you." The door opened and Andrew's oldest brother Marcus stepped in, stopping short at the sight of Olivia holding Andrew's hand. "Who are you?" he demanded. "How did you get in here? This is a private family matter." Olivia didn't move, her eyes locked with Andrew's. "Marcus," Andrew said, his voice suddenly stronger. "This is Olivia. She's my friend," Olivia cut in quickly. "I'm an old friend." Marcus frowned but nodded curtly. 5 minutes? Then I must insist you leave. The family needs this time." When he left, Andrew looked at her with pain in his eyes. "Even now you protect them." "No," she corrected softly. "I'm protecting your peace. This isn't the time for revelations that will only bring chaos." He closed his eyes. "The letter in my desk. My attorney has everything else. They'll know soon enough." "I know." She leaned forward and pressed her lips to his forehead. "Rest now. I love you. I always will." "Promise me something," he whispered, his breathing becoming more labored. "Stay for the reading. Stay and face them. They need to see you, really see you." She hesitated, then nodded. "I promise." The family filed back in, eyeing Olivia suspiciously but focusing mainly on Andrew. His breathing grew more ragged as the minutes passed. The doctor checked his vitals and shook his head almost imperceptibly. Through it all, Olivia remained in the corner, a silent witness to the end of the life she had shared in secret. No one noticed how her hands trembled or how she bit her lip to keep from crying out. No one realized that her heart was breaking as she watched her husband die surrounded by family members who had never known she existed. As Andrew's last breath left his body, Olivia slipped out of the room. In the hallway, she leaned against the wall, covering her mouth to muffle her sobs. She had promised to stay for the reading of the will, but right now she needed space to grieve privately for the man she had loved so completely. A young woman, Andrew's niece Emma, found her there. "You were important to him, weren't you?" Emma asked quietly. Olivia wiped her tears. "Yes." "He never talked about his personal life. Always business, business, business." Emma's eyes were red from crying. "I wish I had known him better." "He was complicated," Olivia replied. "But he had a good heart." Emma nodded. "Are you coming to the funeral?" Olivia thought about the promise she had made. "Yes. And the reading of the will." Emma looked surprised. "The will? That's just for family." Olivia straightened her shoulders. "I'll be there." As she walked away, she felt the weight of the secret she and Andrew had carried for 8 years. Soon everyone would know. Soon the carefully constructed walls would come crashing down. And then what? What would happen to the love story no one had been allowed to witness? What would happen to her? Andrew's last words to her echoed in her mind. "They need to see you, really see you." But after 8 years of invisibility, Olivia wasn't sure she was ready to be seen. The gala was glittering with New York's elite. Crystal chandeliers cast rainbow prisms across the ballroom as wealthy donors wrote checks for the Children's Hospital charity. Olivia Johnson moved through the crowd confidently, clipboard in hand, making sure everything ran smoothly. As the event coordinator, she had spent months planning this night. "Excuse me," a deep voice said behind her. "Is there somewhere quiet I could make a phone call?" Olivia turned to find herself looking into the bluest eyes she'd ever seen. The man was tall, with salt and pepper hair and a tailored tuxedo that screamed old money. "Of course, Mr. Harrison," she said, recognizing the major donor immediately. "There's a library down the hall to the left." He looked surprised. "You know who I am?" She smiled. "It's my job to know everyone here tonight." especially someone who donated $1 million. And you are Olivia Johnson. I organized this event. His eyes swept the room appreciatively. Then I should be complimenting you. This is exceptionally well done. Thank you. The library? She led him to a quiet room lined with bookshelves. He paused at the doorway. Would you have dinner with me tomorrow night? He asked abruptly. Olivia blinked. I'm sorry? Dinner. With me. Tomorrow. She studied him. Andrew Harrison, 45, never married, ruthless businessman, billionaire. She'd done her research on all the major donors. Why? She asked. He laughed, a genuine laugh that transformed his serious face. Because you didn't pretend not to know who I am, but you weren't impressed by it either. Because you're clearly brilliant at what you do. Because you're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. I don't date clients, she said firmly. The event's over tomorrow. I won't be your client anymore. His eyes twinkled. Just dinner. If it's terrible, you never have to see me again. She shouldn't. She really shouldn't. But something in his directness intrigued her. Just dinner, she agreed. Just dinner turned into just breakfast the next morning. And lunch the following day. Within a month they were inseparable. Andrew's world was different from anything Olivia had experienced. Private jets, seaside mansions, five-star restaurants where the chef came to their table. But what surprised her most was Andrew himself. Behind closed doors, the ruthless businessman was thoughtful, funny, and surprisingly vulnerable. My family has expectations, he told her one night as they lay in bed. The Harrison legacy stretches back generations. Old money, old ideas. Are you saying they wouldn't approve of me? She asked. He traced her cheekbone with his finger. They wouldn't approve of anyone who might change their perfect image of me. But you challenge everything they believe. Because I'm black. That's part of it, he admitted. They're stuck in another century. But also because you're independent, outspoken, not from their world. You wouldn't play their games. So what does that mean for us? He kissed her. It means I have a choice to make. Them or you. 3 months later, he proposed with a simple emerald ring, her favorite stone. I want to marry you, he said. But I need to ask something difficult. Olivia waited. I want our marriage to be private. Just us. No family, no press, no announcements. She pulled back. You want to keep me a secret. I want to keep us sacred, he countered. My family, they'll try to destroy this. They've done it before. I can't risk losing you. So you want me to live in the shadows? Never meet your family? What kind of life is that? He took her hands. One where we make our own rules. One where we build something just for us without their interference. I'm not ashamed of you, Olivia. I'm afraid of them. She thought about it for days. Was love enough if it had to be hidden? Could she be happy as a secret wife? In the end, she said yes with conditions. 5 years, she told him. We keep it private for 5 years. Then we tell everyone no matter what. He agreed immediately. They were married in a tiny ceremony on a beach in the Caribbean, with only the officiant and 2 strangers as witnesses. They bought a penthouse in the city where they could be themselves and a small house in the suburbs registered to an LLC where they pretended to be a normal couple. For 3 years it worked. They were blissfully happy in their bubble, safely away from the Harrison family's judgment and interference. Andrew split his time between their secret life and his public one. Olivia built her event planning business and kept her maiden name professionally. In year 4, everything changed. I'm pregnant, she told him one morning. His face lit up with pure joy, then darkened with worry. This changes things. Yes, she agreed. It does. The beach house in Montauk became their sanctuary after Olivia discovered she was pregnant. Andrew bought it through one of his holding companies, making sure his family couldn't trace the purchase. Set on a private stretch of beach with tall hedges and an electronic gate, it offered the freedom they craved. We can raise our child here, Andrew said as they walked along the shoreline. At least part of the time. Away from prying eyes. Olivia let the sand run through her fingers as she sat on the beach. But for how long, Andrew? We agreed on 5 years. That deadline is coming up next year. And now with a baby? He sat beside her, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. I know. I've been thinking about it constantly. The company's in a delicate position right now. We're negotiating the biggest merger in Harrison history. If my family gets distracted by personal drama. Personal drama? Is that what you call our marriage? Our child? Hurt flashed in her eyes. No. God, no. He ran his hands through his hair in frustration. That came out wrong. You and the baby are my real life. The company, the family expectations, that's the drama. But the timing. My father's health is failing. If he finds out now, it could destroy everything he built. Olivia stood up, brushing sand from her clothes. I never agreed to hide forever, Andrew. I won't raise our child to think they're a secret that needs to be kept. Just a little more time, he pleaded. After the merger, after my father, things will be different. I promise. She looked at him, this man she loved so completely, and saw the conflict tearing him apart. 3 more years. After the baby comes, we have 3 years. Then we tell everyone no matter what. He nodded solemnly. 3 years. Their daughter, Sophia, was born on a stormy night in April. Andrew was there, holding Olivia's hand through every contraction, tears streaming down his face when the doctor placed the tiny bundle in his arms. She's perfect, he whispered. Just like her mother. For the first year of Sophia's life, they lived in a bubble of joy. Andrew adjusted his schedule to spend 4 days a week at the beach house. The other 3, he maintained his public image in the city while Olivia and Sophia stayed in Montauk. It wasn't ideal, but they made it work. When Sophia turned 1, Andrew's father had a massive stroke. The family rallied around him, and Andrew was expected to be there constantly. Days away turned into weeks. I'm so sorry, he told Olivia during a rare weekend visit. Everything's falling apart at once. The merger's hit complications, father's health is worse, and Marcus is pushing for changes in the company that could undo decades of work. Olivia saw the toll it was taking on him. Dark circles under his eyes, weight loss, the constant ping of his phone with emergencies. We'll get through this, she assured him. Family comes first. He looked at her gratefully. You and Sophia are my family. The rest, they're my responsibility. As the months passed, their time together grew shorter. Andrew's father lingered in a half-conscious state, neither recovering nor dying. The merger negotiations dragged on. And through it all, Andrew maintained his double life, torn between his secret family and his public obligations. On Sophia's 2nd birthday, he missed the small party Olivia had planned. The board meeting ran late, he explained over the phone. Then father had another crisis. I can't get away tonight. She heard the exhaustion in his voice. It's okay. We recorded everything. She won't remember anyway. But you will, he said quietly. I'm failing you both. You're doing your best in an impossible situation. Later that night, after putting Sophia to bed, Olivia sat on the deck overlooking the ocean. The deadline they'd agreed on was approaching, and she was starting to wonder if Andrew would ever be ready to reveal their existence to his family. A car pulled into the driveway, Andrew's Aston Martin. He rushed onto the deck and swept her into his arms. I couldn't miss her birthday completely, he said breathless. I can only stay an hour, but I had to see you both. She led him to Sophia's room, where he stood watching their daughter sleep. She's so big, he whispered. I'm missing too much. Then stop missing it, Olivia said simply. Make a choice, Andrew. He turned to her, anguish clear on his face. I'm trying. The merger's almost complete. Father. He hesitated. The doctors say it could be another year. Or tomorrow. There's no way to know. And after that? Will there be another reason? Another crisis? Another delay? No, he said firmly. I promise. 3 more months. That's when the merger will be finalized. Then I start transitioning out of day-to-day operations. I've already put the plan in motion. She wanted to believe him. And your family? Once I'm not tied to the company, their opinion won't matter. We can live openly. He meant it. She could see it in his eyes. But she'd heard promises before. 3 months, she repeated. Then no more hiding. He kissed her deeply. No more hiding. But 3 months came and went. The merger hit last-minute complications. Andrew's father rallied unexpectedly, becoming lucid enough to demand Andrew's presence. And Olivia found herself alone with Sophia more and more often, watching her daughter grow without her father present. On their 5th wedding anniversary, Andrew didn't come home. He called at midnight, apologetic and devastated. Marcus cornered me at the office. He's suspicious about where I go when I'm not working. He had someone follow me last week. Olivia's blood ran cold. Did they track you here? No, I was careful. But we need to be even more cautious now. Marcus is looking for any weakness he can exploit. If he finds out about you and Sophia? What if he does? She challenged. Maybe it's time, Andrew. Maybe this is the push we need. Silence stretched between them. I need a little more time, he finally said. Just until I secure my position post-merger. Then I can protect you both properly when the truth comes out. With a heavy heart, Olivia agreed to wait. Again. As Sophia's third birthday approached, Andrew was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. The beach house kitchen was filled with the smell of coffee and pancakes when Andrew arrived on a Tuesday morning. It was unusual for him to come on a weekday, and Olivia knew immediately something was wrong. "Daddy?" Sophia squealed, running to him with sticky hands. At 3 years old, she was a perfect blend of both parents, Andrew's blue eyes and Olivia's warm brown skin and curly hair. Andrew scooped her up, holding her tighter and longer than normal. Over their daughter's head, his eyes met Olivia's. The pain she saw there made her stomach clench. "Why don't you finish your breakfast, sweetie?" she suggested to Sophia. "Daddy and I need to talk for a minute." Once Sophia was settled with her pancakes and a coloring book, they stepped onto the deck. "What is it?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Andrew took a deep breath. "I've been having some pain. Thought it was stress or maybe an ulcer. I finally went to a doctor last week." She waited, holding her breath. "It's pancreatic cancer. Stage 3. The world tilted beneath her feet. "No. That can't. There must be a mistake." He shook his head. "I got a second opinion yesterday. It's aggressive. It's already spread to nearby tissues." "Treatment options?" she asked, slipping into crisis mode the way she did when a major event was falling apart. "Surgery isn't possible because of the location. They want to start an intensive chemotherapy regimen immediately, followed by radiation." Olivia paced the deck. "Okay. We'll get the best doctors. We'll fight this." "The prognosis isn't good, Liv," he said softly. "Even with treatment they're talking months, maybe a year." She stopped pacing and faced him. "No. I refuse to accept that. We'll find clinical trials, experimental treatments, whatever it takes." He smiled sadly. "That's my warrior. Always ready for battle." "Don't you dare give up," she warned, tears filling her eyes. "Sophia needs her father. I need my husband." He pulled her into his arms. "I'm not giving up. I'll fight with everything I have. But we need to be realistic about what's coming." She pushed away from him. "What does your family know?" "Nothing yet. I wanted to tell you first. They need to know about us now, Andrew. Before you start treatment. I should be by your side through this." He hesitated. "The timing is never going to be perfect," she exclaimed. "But if not now, when? When you're too sick to stand up to them? When you're gone and Sophia and I are left to face them alone?" The truth of her words hung in the air between them. "You're right," he finally said. "It's time. But let me do it carefully. My father's health is precarious. My brothers are circling like sharks, looking for ways to take control of the company. If I drop this bomb all at once." "Then what do you suggest?" she asked. "Let me start the treatment first. Get through the initial rounds. Then I'll begin introducing the idea that there's someone in my life. Someone important." She considered his plan. "And when do they meet me?" "Meet Sophia?" "Soon," he promised. "Before the end of the year." She wanted to argue, to demand immediate action, but the fatigue in his eyes stopped her. He was facing a death sentence. Fighting with his family wouldn't help him heal. "Okay," she agreed reluctantly. "But I want to be involved in your treatment. I want to come to appointments, talk to doctors." "Of course," he said, relief evident in his voice. "I need you there." They spent the day together as a family, playing with Sophia on the beach, building sandcastles and collecting shells. Andrew took hundreds of pictures, capturing every smile, every laugh. When Sophia napped, they made love with a desperate intensity, both aware of the clock ticking down on their time together. As evening approached, Andrew grew quiet. "What are you thinking?" Olivia asked, running her fingers through his hair as they sat on the couch. "I need to update my will," he said. "Make sure you and Sophia are protected no matter what happens." "Don't talk like that. We have to be practical, Liv. If I die before my family knows about you." She placed her finger over his lips. "You're going to beat this. And your family is going to know us long before then." He kissed her palm. "Still, I'm meeting with my attorney tomorrow. I want everything in order." The next few weeks passed in a blur of doctor appointments, treatment plans, and stolen moments together. Andrew began aggressive chemotherapy, which left him nauseated and exhausted. Olivia drove him to and from appointments, held his head when he vomited, and tried to maintain normalcy for Sophia. On the days when Andrew was too sick to leave the city, Olivia would bundle Sophia into the car and drive to their penthouse apartment. They created a routine where Sophia would play quietly while Daddy rested. Though only 3, she seemed to understand the gravity of the situation, her usual boisterous energy dimming in the presence of her father's illness. 2 months into treatment, Andrew's father suffered another stroke and died 3 days later. The funeral was a major society event, covered by the press and attended by politicians, celebrities, and business titans. Andrew stood with his brothers and sisters, playing the role of dutiful son while Olivia watched the coverage on television, an outsider to her husband's public life. After the funeral, Andrew's condition worsened. The cancer was not responding to treatment as hoped. Instead of introducing Olivia to his family as planned, he was now fighting for every day, every hour. "I need more time," he told her during a rare good day, when the pain medication was working and he could sit up and talk. "This isn't how I wanted it to happen. Not with everything so chaotic." She sat beside him on their bed, holding his increasingly frail hand. "I understand. But Sophia asks about you constantly when you're not here. She doesn't understand why her daddy is always sick, always away." He closed his eyes, tears leaking from the corners. "Bring her tomorrow. I need to see her." "You're sure? You said your brother might stop by." "I don't care anymore. If he meets her, so be it." But when the next day came, Andrew was too sick to see anyone. The new medication had caused a severe reaction, and he was back in the hospital. Olivia paced the waiting room, unable to go to his room for fear of running into his family. A nurse took pity on her. "Are you a friend of Mr. Harrison's?" Olivia nodded, not trusting herself to speak. "He's asking for you. His family just left for dinner. You have about an hour." She slipped into his room, heart breaking at the sight of him connected to so many machines. His once robust frame was skeletal now, his skin yellowed from liver involvement. "Hey, beautiful," he whispered when he saw her. She kissed his forehead. "Hey yourself, handsome." He tried to smile. "Liar. How are you feeling?" "Like I'm running out of road." He gripped her hand with surprising strength. "I need you to promise me something. Anything. If I don't make it, don't let them erase you. Don't let them pretend you and Sophia don't exist." A sob caught in her throat. "Andrew? Promise me. The will is set. My attorney knows everything. But I need you to be strong. I need you to stand up to them." "I promise," she whispered. "But you're going to be fine. You'll tell them yourself." He shook his head slightly. "We both know that's not true anymore. The new scans, it's everywhere now." She laid her head on his chest, listening to the uneven beat of his heart. "I love you. We'll get through this." But in her heart she knew they wouldn't. Not together. The clock that had been ticking since his diagnosis was running out of time. Autumn leaves scattered across the lawn of the Harrison mansion as Olivia pulled up to the imposing gates. She'd never been here before, had only seen pictures of the family estate in magazines and news articles. Now, sitting in her car with her heart pounding, she wondered if she was making a terrible mistake. 4 months had passed since Andrew's diagnosis, and his condition was deteriorating rapidly. The experimental treatment they'd pinned their hopes on had failed. The cancer was winning, spreading through his body with ruthless efficiency. The doctors were now talking in terms of weeks, not months. Yesterday, Andrew had been moved from the hospital to his family home to live out his final days. He'd called Olivia, his voice barely a whisper. "I need to see you. Both of you. I can't die without holding you one more time." So here she was, with 4-year-old Sophia sleeping in the back seat, about to walk into the lion's den. She pressed the intercom button at the gate. "Harrison Residence," a crisp voice answered. "I'm here to see Andrew. He's expecting me." Pause. "Your name, please?" "Olivia Johnson." Another longer pause. "1 moment." Olivia waited, fingers drumming nervously on the steering wheel. Had Andrew told someone she was coming? Or would she be turned away at the gate? Finally the voice returned. "Mr. Harrison is expecting you. Please drive up to the main entrance." The gates swung open and Olivia drove slowly up the winding driveway. The mansion loomed ahead, a sprawling stone structure that had housed generations of Harrisons. She parked and gently woke Sophia. "Are we going to see Daddy?" the little girl asked sleepily. "Yes, sweetheart. But remember what we talked about? Daddy is very sick, so we need to be quiet and gentle." Sophia nodded solemnly, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. A butler met them at the door, his expression carefully neutral. "Mr. Harrison is in the East Wing. If you'll follow me." They walked through opulent rooms filled with antiques and artwork. Olivia felt eyes on them as they passed doorways where conversations suddenly hushed. The Harrison family watching the strangers in their midst. The butler stopped outside a door and knocked softly. A nurse opened it, looking surprised at the sight of Olivia and Sophia. "Mr. Harrison is resting," she said. "Let them in," came Andrew's faint voice from inside. "Please." The room was large but dimly lit, the curtains drawn against the afternoon sun. Medical equipment surrounded the bed where Andrew lay, his once powerful frame now painfully thin. Olivia approached slowly, holding Sophia's hand. "Hey, we're here." Andrew's eyes opened, focusing with effort. When he saw them, his face transformed with joy. "You came." "Of course we did." She leaned down to kiss him gently. He turned to Sophia, who was hanging back, eyes wide at the sight of her father so changed. "Come here, princess. Don't be scared." Olivia lifted Sophia onto the edge of the bed. The little girl reached out tentatively to touch her father's face. "Does it hurt, Daddy?" "Not when you're here," he said, his voice stronger than it had been in days. "I've missed you so much." "I drew you pictures," Sophia said, reaching into her small backpack. "Mommy said they would make you feel better." "They already have," he assured her as she spread crayon drawings across his blanket. For an hour they existed in their own world. Andrew mustered his strength to listen to Sophia's stories, to ask about her preschool, to tell her how much he loved her. Olivia sat beside them, taking mental photographs of these precious moments. A knock at the door broke their bubble. Andrew's brother Marcus entered without waiting for a response. "Andrew, the attorney is here." He stopped short at the sight of Olivia and Sophia. Andrew didn't flinch. "Marcus, this is Olivia. And this is Sophia." Marcus looked at them with confusion, then back to his brother. "The attorney needs to discuss some paperwork with you. Privately. Anything he needs to say can be said in front of my wife and daughter," Andrew replied, each word deliberate. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus stared, his expression cycling through confusion, disbelief, and anger. "You're what?" he finally managed. "You heard me." Andrew's hand found Olivia's, gripping it weakly. "It's time for the truth, Marcus. I'm dying and I won't leave this world with lies still on my lips." Marcus's face hardened. "We'll discuss this later. When you're thinking clearly." He left, the door closing firmly behind him. Andrew turned to Olivia, exhaustion evident in his face. "That went well." She smiled despite her anxiety. "Could have been worse. He'll be back. With reinforcements." Sophia had moved to a chair by the window, absorbed in a book she'd brought. Olivia leaned closer to Andrew. "Should we leave?" "No," he said firmly. "This is what I've wanted for years. No more hiding. No more secrets. Your family won't make it easy. I don't care anymore." His eyes found hers. "I've been a coward for too long, Liv. Afraid of their judgment, their control. But what did it get me? A deathbed full of regrets." Tears filled her eyes. "Don't talk like that. You did what you thought was right." "I did what was easy," he countered. "And you paid the price." Before she could respond, the door opened again. This time, Marcus was accompanied by two of Andrew's sisters and an older man Olivia recognized as the family attorney. "Andrew," one of the sisters began, "what is Marcus telling us? Who are these people?" Andrew struggled to sit up. Olivia adjusted his pillows, supporting him. "Elizabeth, Catherine, this is my wife, Olivia. And our daughter, Sophia." Elizabeth gasped. Catherine's hand flew to her mouth. "That's impossible," Elizabeth said. "You're not married." "We've been married for 8 years, Andrew replied calmly. "Quietly, privately. My choice, not hers." The attorney stepped forward. "Mr. Harrison, given your condition and the medication you're on, perhaps this discussion should wait." "It can't wait, James. You know that better than anyone." Andrew's voice was fading, the burst of energy he'd found upon seeing his family now depleting rapidly. "You have the papers. You know the truth." James nodded reluctantly. "Yes, sir. I do." Marcus turned on the attorney. "What papers? What is he talking about?" "Mr. Harrison's will and associated documents," James replied. "Which I'm not at liberty to discuss until after his passing, as per his instructions." "This is absurd," Catherine said. "He's clearly not in his right mind." Olivia had remained silent, letting Andrew handle his family. But now, seeing him weakening with each passing moment, she stood. "I think Andrew needs to rest now," she said firmly. "This excitement isn't good for him." "And who are you to decide that?" Elizabeth demanded. "His wife," Olivia replied simply. "And if you care about your brother at all, you'll let him have peace in whatever time he has left." A tense standoff followed, broken only when the nurse returned. "Mr. Harrison needs his medication and rest." I must ask everyone to leave. Marcus pointed at Olivia. Especially her. She has no right to be here. She has every right, Andrew said, his voice barely audible now. More than any of you. The nurse began ushering people out. Olivia bent to kiss Andrew. I'll come back tomorrow, she promised. He grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. Stay, please. I don't want to be alone with them. She looked at Sophia, who had fallen asleep in the chair, oblivious to the drama unfolding. We'll stay, she decided. As long as you need us. The family retreated, throwing suspicious glances over their shoulders. The attorney was the last to leave, pausing at the door. Mrs. Harrison, he said quietly, perhaps we could speak privately later? Olivia nodded, surprised by his use of her married name. Of course. After everyone left, Andrew drifted into an uneasy sleep. Olivia sat beside his bed, holding his hand, while Sophia continued to nap in the chair. Outside the door, she could hear heated discussions, footsteps coming and going, doors opening and closing. The Harrison family was in turmoil. Hours later, as evening fell, there was a soft knock. James, the attorney, entered with a folder under his arm. He's sleeping, Olivia whispered. That's probably for the best. James pulled up a chair opposite her. Mrs. Harrison, I feel I should prepare you for what's coming. Call me Olivia, please. He nodded. Olivia, I've been the Harrison family attorney for 30 years. I've seen their best and worst moments. What's about to happen? It won't be pretty. I expected as much. Andrew came to me 5 years ago with your marriage certificate. He wanted to ensure that you and eventually your daughter would be protected, no matter what happened. The will we've prepared is airtight. But that won't stop his family from challenging it. Olivia swallowed hard. Why are you telling me this? Because Andrew asked me to look out for you. He knew this moment would come, and he wanted to make sure you had an ally when it did. James opened the folder. I have copies of everything. Your marriage certificate, Sophia's birth certificate with Andrew listed as father, property deeds, bank accounts. All legally binding. Olivia fought back tears. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The battle is just beginning. He glanced at the sleeping Andrew. How much time do the doctors think he has? Days. Maybe a week. James nodded grimly. Then we need to prepare. The family will try to remove you from the premises. They'll claim you're an imposter, a gold digger. They might even try to say Andrew wasn't in his right mind when he made his will. What should I do? Stay. Fight. For him and for your daughter. He handed her his card. Call me anytime, day or night. After he left, Olivia sat in the growing darkness, the magnitude of what was coming finally hitting her. For 8 years she'd lived in the shadows of Andrew's life. Now she would have to step into the harsh light and face a family that had never known she existed. She looked at her sleeping daughter, then at her dying husband. They were worth fighting for. Whatever came next, she would face it. For them. Dawn broke over the Harrison estate, pale light filtering through the curtains. Olivia had spent the night in a chair beside Andrew's bed, drifting in and out of fitful sleep. Sophia had been moved to a small daybed in the corner of the room, where she still slept peacefully. A soft knock at the door woke Olivia fully. The nurse entered with a tray of medication and a young woman Olivia recognized as Emma, Andrew's niece. I brought breakfast, Emma said hesitantly, holding a second tray. I thought you might be hungry. Olivia straightened in her chair, surprised by the gesture. Thank you. Emma set the tray on a side table. Is it true? Are you really his wife? Olivia nodded. For 8 years. Why didn't he tell us? That's a complicated story. Emma's eyes drifted to Sophia. And she's his daughter? Yes. Her name is Sophia. She's 4. Emma approached the sleeping child, studying her face. She has his eyes. And his stubborn streak, Olivia added with a small smile. The family is in chaos, Emma said, turning back to Olivia. Uncle Marcus is talking about having Andrew declared mentally incompetent. Aunt Elizabeth is convinced you're some kind of con artist. And what do you think? Emma considered the question. I think Uncle Andrew always had secrets. He was different from the rest of them, kinder, less concerned with appearances. And I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looked at you yesterday. Andrew stirred, his eyes fluttering open. Emma? His niece moved to his bedside. I'm here, Uncle Andrew. Being nice to my girls? He asked, his voice raspy. Emma smiled. Trying to be. Good. Someone in this family should be. He reached weakly for Olivia's hand. Water. Olivia helped him take a few sips from a cup. The nurse checked his vitals and administered his morning medication. "The doctor will be here at 10, she informed them before leaving. Emma lingered, clearly curious about this hidden part of her uncle's life. "Can I get you anything else?" "Just keep the wolves at bay a little longer," Andrew said. "I need time with my family." Emma nodded. "I'll try." "But they're determined, Uncle Andrew. They're talking about lawyers, court orders. It's getting ugly." "Let them try," he said with a flash of his old determination. "I've prepared for this." After Emma left, Sophia woke up and climbed onto the bed with Andrew. For a precious hour they were just a family, reading stories, sharing memories, pretending the world outside the room didn't exist. Then reality intruded in the form of Marcus, accompanied by a man in an expensive suit. "Andrew, this is Dr. Reynolds. He's here to evaluate your mental state." Andrew's jaw tightened. "Get out, Marcus. It's for your own good. You're clearly not thinking rationally and we need to protect." "My family?" Andrew finished. "That's what I'm doing. Protecting my real family." Marcus's face flushed with anger. "This woman shows up out of nowhere with a child, claiming to be your wife, and you expect us to believe it? You've never even mentioned her." "That was my choice. My mistake." Andrew's voice was growing weaker. "Not hers." The doctor cleared his throat. "Perhaps we could have a few minutes alone, Mr. Harrison? Just to talk. Anything you have to say can be said in front of my wife and daughter." Dr. Reynolds glanced at Marcus, who nodded slightly. "Very well. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your current situation and decisions." For the next 20 minutes, the doctor tried to trap Andrew with circular questions and leading statements. Despite his weakened state, Andrew remained sharp, answering clearly and consistently. Olivia watched with pride as her husband defended their family with his last strength. Finally the doctor stood. "I'll need to compile my findings." "Let me save you the trouble," Andrew said. "I'm dying, not delusional. My faculties are intact, my decisions are my own, and if my family can't accept that, it's their problem, not mine." After they left, Andrew collapsed back against his pillows, exhausted. "They won't stop, Liv." "I know." She stroked his forehead. "But neither will we." The day passed in a blur of doctors, nurses, medication, and brief visits from family members, each trying to assess the situation in their own way. Some were openly hostile, others merely curious. Through it all, Olivia remained by Andrew's side, a steady presence in the chaos. As evening approached, Andrew's condition worsened. His breathing became labored, his pain more difficult to control. The hospice doctor adjusted his medication, her expression grave as she took Olivia aside. "It's accelerating faster than we expected," she explained quietly. "Hours now, not days." Olivia's knees threatened to buckle. "Are you sure? I've seen this progression many times. You should prepare yourselves. And perhaps say whatever needs to be said." Olivia arranged for Emma to take Sophia to another room for a while, wanting to shield her daughter from the worst of the end. Then she sat beside Andrew, holding his hand, trying to memorize every detail of his face. "Do you remember our first date?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. His lips curved in a weak smile. "You wore a red dress. I couldn't take my eyes off you. You took me to that ridiculous French restaurant where everything was tiny and cost a fortune. And you said you'd rather have a burger." His laugh turned into a cough. "That's when I knew." "Knew what?" "That you were the one. The real thing in a world of pretenders." He squeezed her hand. "I'm sorry, Liv. For all the hiding. For not being brave enough." "Don't." She leaned forward, pressing her forehead to his. "We had 8 beautiful years. We have Sophia. No regrets. Just one." His voice was fading. "That I won't see her grow up. That I won't grow old with you." Tears spilled down Olivia's cheeks. "I'll make sure she knows you. Every day. How much you loved her. How special you were. Promise me something else." His breathing was becoming more labored. "Don't let them push you away. Stand your ground. You and Sophia deserve everything." "I promise." They sat in silence for a while, the beeping of machines marking the passage of time. Outside the door, they could hear the family gathering, voices rising and falling in argument. "Bring Sophia," Andrew finally said. "I need to say goodbye." Olivia sent a text to Emma, who soon arrived with Sophia. The little girl seemed to sense the gravity of the moment, her usual chatter silent as she approached the bed. "Come here, princess," Andrew said, patting the space beside him. Sophia climbed carefully onto the bed and nestled against her father's side. "Are you going to heaven, Daddy?" Andrew's eyes met Olivia's over their daughter's head. "Soon, sweetheart. but I'll still be watching over you. Will you be an angel? The very best angel. Whenever you see a star, that's me winking at you. Sophia considered this. Will you come back? Not in the way you mean. But I'll never really leave you. He touched her heart. I'll be right here. And in your memories. For the next hour, Andrew mustered his remaining strength to create one last memory with his daughter, telling her stories, making her laugh, listening to her plans for kindergarten. When he began to tire, Olivia suggested that Sophia draw him a special picture. While their daughter was distracted with her crayons, Andrew pulled Olivia close. It's time, he whispered. I can feel it. She fought back a sob. I'm not ready. Neither am I. But it's happening anyway. His blue eyes, still bright despite his illness, fixed on hers. Remember what we talked about. The letter in my desk at the penthouse. The safe at the beach house. James has copies of everything. I remember. And live? Be happy again someday. That's an order. Before she could respond, the door opened. Marcus and Elizabeth entered, followed by several other family members. We need to talk, Andrew, Marcus began. Olivia stood. Not now. Can't you see he's exhausted? This can't wait, Elizabeth insisted. The family needs answers. The only answer you need is that I love my wife and daughter, Andrew said, his voice surprisingly strong. The rest is in my will. Marcus stepped closer to the bed. You can't possibly expect us to accept this arrangement. A secret wife? A child we've never heard of? It's preposterous. Your acceptance isn't required, Marcus. Only your compliance with my wishes. Elizabeth turned to Olivia. How much is he paying you? To pretend to go along with this charade? Andrew tried to sit up, anger giving him momentary strength. Elizabeth, that's enough. No, it's not enough, she shot back. You bring these strangers into our home, claim their family, expect us to just accept it? After a lifetime of shutting us out of your personal life, suddenly we're supposed to embrace your wife and child? How do we even know she's yours? Sophia looked up from her drawing, her bottom lip trembling at the raised voices. Olivia moved quickly to her daughter, protective instincts flaring. Don't you dare upset my child. Whatever issues you have with me or with Andrew, leave her out of it. The confrontation might have escalated further, but at that moment Andrew made a strange, gurgling sound. All eyes turned to him as his body spasmed once, then went still. Andrew? Olivia rushed to his side. The heart monitor flatlined, its steady beep becoming a continuous tone. The nurse ran in, quickly assessed the situation, and pressed the emergency call button. Everyone out, she ordered. Now. The family backed away, shock replacing anger on their faces. Olivia stood frozen, one hand on Andrew's chest, the other reaching back for Sophia, who had begun to cry. Daddy, the little girl wailed. Daddy, wake up. The medical team arrived, but it was already clear. Andrew Harrison was gone. In the chaos that followed, the doctor's official pronouncement, the nurse's compassionate explanations, the funeral home being called, Olivia held Sophia close, both of them crying as the reality sank in. Through her tears, she became aware of the family watching from the doorway. Their expressions ranged from stunned grief to calculating speculation. Only Emma showed genuine compassion, stepping forward to place a hand on Olivia's shoulder. I'm so sorry, she said softly. Marcus cleared his throat. The funeral arrangements will be handled by the family. We'll be in touch about other matters. Olivia looked up, wiping tears from her face. We'll be staying here tonight. Sophia and I need time to say goodbye. That won't be necessary, Elizabeth said coldly. This is a family. We are family, Olivia interrupted, her voice steady despite her breaking heart. And we're staying. For a moment, it seemed Marcus would argue. Then, perhaps aware of how it would appear to forcibly remove a grieving widow and child, he nodded stiffly. One night. We'll discuss next steps in the morning. After they left, Emma helped Olivia prepare Sophia for bed. The exhausted child finally fell asleep clutching her stuffed rabbit and the last drawing she'd made for her father. Thank you, Olivia said to Emma, for your kindness. He loved you, Emma replied simply. That's enough for me. Left alone with her thoughts, Olivia returned to Andrew's bedside. His body had been prepared for removal to the funeral home in the morning, but for now, she had these final moments with him. I'll keep my promise, she whispered, kissing his cold forehead. They'll know us. They'll see us. And Sophia will have everything you wanted for her. Outside the window, stars dotted the night sky. One seemed to shine particularly bright. Olivia smiled through her tears. Andrew was winking at them already. The morning after Andrew's death dawned gray and rainy, matching Olivia's mood perfectly. She'd barely slept, spending most of the night watching over Sophia and planning their next steps. She knew the battle was just beginning. A knock at the door revealed James, the attorney, looking solemn in a dark suit. "I came as soon as I heard," he said. "My condolences." "Thank you." Olivia glanced at Sophia, still sleeping. "Can we talk in the hallway?" Outside the room, James lowered his voice. "The family has called an emergency meeting for this afternoon. They want to discuss funeral arrangements and other matters, by which I assume they mean you and Sophia. I expected as much. I've brought the documents we discussed. Also, I think it's time you had this." He handed her an envelope. "Andrew left specific instructions that this letter be given to you upon his death." Olivia took it with trembling hands. "What happens now?" "Now we prepare for the reading of the will, which according to Andrew's instructions, should take place immediately after the funeral. The family will try to delay it, of course. They'll want time to build a case against you. And the funeral? Day after tomorrow. They're moving quickly, hoping to minimize press coverage of any complications." Olivia nodded. "Meaning me?" "Precisely. They want you and Sophia gone before the funeral, but I've made it clear that as Andrew's legal wife, you have every right to be there. They can't stop you without creating a scene. I don't want to cause a scene. I just want to say goodbye to my husband." James patted her shoulder. "And you will. Now I suggest you pack your things. It won't be comfortable staying here any longer than necessary. We'll go to the penthouse today." "Good. I'll be in touch about the arrangements." He handed her a business card. "My personal cell is on the back. Call anytime." After he left, Olivia went back into the room to find Sophia awake, clutching her stuffed rabbit. "Is Daddy an angel now?" she asked. Olivia sat beside her daughter, pulling her close. "Yes, sweetheart. He's an angel now. I miss him." "Me too, baby. Me too." They spent the morning packing their few belongings. Olivia was acutely aware of the household staff watching them, whispering among themselves. The family kept their distance, communicating through messengers and notes rather than facing her directly. By noon they were ready to leave. Olivia had hesitated about taking anything from Andrew's room but finally decided on a few small items. His favorite watch, a book from his nightstand, the drawing Sophia had made in his final hours. As they prepared to walk out, Marcus appeared in the foyer. "A moment, Mrs. Harrison." Olivia steeled herself. "Yes. The funeral will be a private, family-only affair. I'm sure you understand." She met his gaze steadily. "I understand perfectly what you're trying to do, Marcus. But I will be at my husband's funeral. Sophia and I will say goodbye to him properly. This situation is already difficult enough without adding a spectacle. Then don't create one. Accept who we are and move forward." His jaw tightened. "We'll see what the courts have to say about who you are. In the meantime, I expect you'll be discreet." "I've been discreet for 8 years. That ends now." Before he could respond, she took Sophia's hand and walked past him, out of the house that had never welcomed them. At the penthouse, Olivia tucked Sophia in for a nap, then finally opened Andrew's letter. His familiar handwriting brought fresh tears to her eyes. "My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, I've left you alone to face what I was too cowardly to confront in life. I'm sorry for that, sorrier than you can imagine. But I'm not sorry for a single moment of our life together. You and Sophia were my real world. Everything else was just shadows. By now, my family is circling, looking for ways to erase you from my life. Don't let them. Fight with everything you have. The will is airtight. James has all the documentation. The letter in my desk contains everything you need to know. Accounts, passwords, properties, investments. There's a safe at the beach house with cash and other essentials in case things get complicated. I should have introduced you to the world years ago. I should have stood proudly with you and Sophia and let everyone see the man you helped me become. That's my greatest regret. But regrets don't matter now. What matters is the future, your future and Sophia's. I've set things up to protect you both, to give you everything you deserve. It won't be easy. The family will fight. But you're stronger than all of them combined. Remember our first anniversary? You said something I never forgot. Love isn't what you say, it's what you do. I hope that in the end what I've done proves how much I loved you both. Live well, my darling. Be happy. And when Sophia looks up at the stars, remind her that I'm looking back. All my love, always, Andrew." Olivia pressed the letter to her heart, allowing herself a few moments of pure grief before carefully folding it and putting it away. Then she found the key to Andrew's home office and opened his desk. Inside was another envelope, just as he'd described, containing a detailed accounting of their financial situation. The numbers made her breath catch. Andrew had always been generous, but she'd had no idea of the full extent of his wealth, or how much of it he'd put in her name over the years. There were accounts she didn't know existed, properties in several countries, investment portfolios, trust funds for Sophia. Everything meticulously documented and legally arranged to be irrefutable. Her phone rang, James calling to confirm the funeral details. 2 days from now, 10 a.m. at St. Patrick's Cathedral, he told her. Private service, then burial at the family plot in Westchester. The reading of the will is scheduled for 3 p.m. at my office. Will there be press? Inevitably. Andrew Harrison's death is news. But the family is trying to keep it low-key. What should I expect at the reading? James sighed. Drama. Outrage. Possibly legal challenges on the spot. Are you prepared for that? Olivia looked at the documents spread across Andrew's desk, at the photograph of the three of them from Sophia's 3rd birthday. I'm prepared for anything. The next 48 hours passed in a blur of practical arrangements and emotional upheaval. Olivia ordered appropriate funeral clothes for herself and Sophia. She contacted her closest friends who rallied around with support and childcare offers. She read and reread Andrew's financial documents, making sure she understood everything. And through it all, she grieved, in quiet moments when Sophia was asleep, in sudden waves that hit without warning, in dreams where Andrew was still alive and well. The morning of the funeral arrived with clear skies and unseasonable warmth. Olivia dressed Sophia in a simple black dress with a white collar, then put on her own black sheath dress, elegant but understated. They took a car service to the cathedral, arriving just as the family was gathering on the steps. Murmurs rippled through the group as she approached, holding Sophia's hand. Marcus stepped forward, blocking their path. This isn't appropriate, he said in a low voice. Stepping aside would be appropriate, Olivia replied, equally quiet. Don't make a scene in front of your brother's daughter. For a tense moment, it seemed he might refuse. Then Emma appeared beside him. Uncle Marcus, the press is watching. Indeed, several photographers had gathered across the street, lenses trained on the family tableau. Marcus hesitated, then grudgingly moved aside. Inside, Olivia and Sophia sat in the front row, across the aisle from the immediate family. The massive cathedral was only partially filled. Andrew had been intensely private in life, and his circle of genuine friends was small. Business associates, politicians, and society figures made up most of the attendees. The service was traditional and impersonal. None of the speakers, Andrew's oldest brother, a business partner, a childhood friend, seemed to know the real man at all. They spoke of his business acumen, his philanthropic contributions, his family legacy. Nothing about his gentle humor, his love of simple pleasures, his devotion to his daughter. When the final hymn ended, the family rose to follow the casket out. Olivia and Sophia fell into step behind them, drawing curious glances and whispered questions from the mourners. At the cemetery, the family arranged themselves around the grave. Again, Olivia and Sophia stood apart, though Emma broke ranks to stand beside them. He would have wanted you here, she whispered. As the minister spoke the final prayers, Sophia tugged at Olivia's hand. Can I put my drawing with Daddy? She asked. Olivia hesitated, aware of the watching family, then nodded. Of course, sweetheart. After the casket was lowered, while the family placed their roses on top, Sophia stepped forward with her folded drawing. Elizabeth made a small sound of protest, but a sharp look from Emma silenced her. The little girl carefully dropped her artwork into the grave. Bye, Daddy, she said clearly. Don't forget to wink at me. In that moment, even the hardest heart seemed to soften slightly. There was no denying the child's grief was genuine, her connection to Andrew Rayall. As the gathering dispersed, James approached Olivia. 3 o'clock at my office. Do you need the address? I know where it is. Marcus overheard. You're not seriously proceeding with the reading today? It's inappropriate. It was your brother's explicit instruction, James replied firmly. 3 o'clock. The hours between the burial and the reading passed with excruciating slowness. Olivia took Sophia back to the penthouse, where a friend came to stay with her. Then, steeling herself for the confrontation ahead, she changed into a more businesslike outfit and headed to the attorney's office. The conference room was already tense when she arrived. The entire Harrison family was there along with their personal attorneys. Conversation stopped abruptly when she entered. James gestured to a seat at the head of the table. Mrs. Harrison, please. The use of her married name sent another ripple of displeasure through the family. Olivia sat calmly, placing her purse on the table in front of her. "Now that everyone is here," James began, "we can proceed with the reading of Andrew Harrison's last will and testament. Before I begin, I should note that this will has been properly executed, witnessed, and notarized. Mr. Harrison was of sound mind when he signed it 6 months ago, as attested by 2 physicians and a psychiatric evaluation." He looked pointedly at Marcus, who had opened his mouth to object. "Furthermore," James continued, "any challenges to the will must be filed formally through the courts. Today is simply about informing all parties of its contents." He opened a folder and began to read. The first sections were standard: revocation of previous wills, appointment of executors, payment of debts. Then came the bequest. To his siblings, Andrew left specific personal items and modest cash gifts. Generous by normal standards but insignificant given his overall wealth. To nieces and nephews, including Emma, he left educational trusts. To various charities, larger donations. The family grew increasingly restless as it became clear that the bulk of the estate remained unaddressed. Finally, James reached the key section. "To my beloved wife Olivia Johnson Harrison, I leave the remainder of my estate, including but not limited to, our homes in New York City, Montauk, Aspen, and Paris, my personal investment portfolio, my art collection, my ownership stakes in non-Harrison family businesses, and all other assets not specifically designated elsewhere." A shocked silence fell over the room, followed by an explosion of voices. "This is outrageous. She can't possibly. We'll contest this immediately." James raised his hand. "There's more." When quiet reluctantly returned, he continued. "To my precious daughter, Sophia Elizabeth Harrison, I establish a trust to be administered by her mother until she reaches the age of 25, at which time she will have full control. This trust includes my shares in Harrison Industries and all associated companies." This revelation caused even greater uproar. Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "This is completely unacceptable. Harrison Industries has been family-controlled for generations. You can't possibly allow this stranger to have voting shares." James remained unruffled. "The shares transfer to Sophia's trust. Until she's of age, the voting rights will be exercised by the trustee, Olivia." Elizabeth turned to her attorney. "We're contesting this immediately. All of it." "On what grounds?" James asked mildly. "Mr. Harrison was legally married to Olivia. Sophia is their legitimate child. Medical evaluations confirm he was of sound mind when the will was executed. There are no grounds for contest that would stand up in court." "We'll see about that," Marcus growled. "One final section," James said, ignoring the threat. Andrew included a personal message to be read at this time. He turned a page and began to read Andrew's words. "To my family, I know this comes as a shock. I regret the secrecy that has characterized the happiest part of my life. That secrecy was my choice, not Olivia's. She wanted openness, I chose hiding. I was afraid of exactly the scene that is probably unfolding as this is read: anger, rejection, threats." James paused as several family members shifted uncomfortably. "But I was wrong to hide. Olivia and Sophia are my family, my real family, built on love and choice rather than obligation and tradition. They deserve everything I can give them and more. They deserve to be acknowledged in life, not just in death. To Olivia, stand your ground. You've earned this place. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. To Sophia, I'm sorry I won't see you grow up. Know that you were the light of my life. Everything I built for you. And to all of you, I hope someday you'll see what I saw, that family is about love, not bloodlines. That Olivia and Sophia deserve your respect and acceptance. That the Harrison legacy is not just about money and power, but about doing what's right. That's all," James finished, closing the folder. For a moment no one spoke. Then Marcus stood. "We'll be filing a formal contest first thing tomorrow. Don't get comfortable, Mrs. Harrison. This isn't over." Olivia rose to face him. "I never thought it would be, Marcus. But Andrew prepared for this moment for years. Every document is in order. Every dotted, every to crossed. You'll waste a lot of money and time trying to undo what can't be undone." "We'll see about that," Elizabeth snapped. "Yes, we will." Olivia gathered her purse. "In the meantime, I suggest you all take some time to reflect on Andrew's final message. He wanted peace, not war." As she turned to leave, Emma stopped her. "I meant what I said earlier. He would have wanted you there today. And he would be proud of how you're handling this." Olivia squeezed the young woman's hand gratefully. Thank you, Emma. That means more than you know. She walked out with her head high, feeling Andrew's presence beside her, guiding her steps. The battle was just beginning, but for the first time since his death, Olivia felt certain of victory. Not just for herself, but for the man who had loved her enough to secure her future, even when he couldn't secure a place for her in his present. The lobby of the Harrison Industries headquarters buzzed with activity as Olivia stepped through the revolving doors. 2 weeks had passed since the reading of the will, and as predicted, the family had launched an all-out legal battle to contest it. But today wasn't about legal maneuvers. Today was about something more important. The security guard at the desk looked up questioningly. "Can I help you, ma'am?" "I'm here to see Linda Chen, head of PR," Olivia said. "I believe she's expecting me." A quick phone call confirmed her appointment, and soon she was being escorted to the executive floor. The curious glances of employees followed her progress. Word had spread quickly about Andrew Harrison's secret wife, igniting a firestorm of gossip and speculation. Linda Chen, a sleek, efficient woman in her 40s, greeted Olivia with professional warmth. "Mrs. Harrison, thank you for coming. I appreciate your willingness to meet here rather than neutral ground." "This company was important to my husband," Olivia replied. "I see no reason to avoid it." Linda led her to a conference room where 2 other people waited, the company's general counsel and a man Olivia recognized as the head of digital communications. "As we discussed on the phone," Linda began, "the press inquiries are becoming overwhelming. We need a unified approach." The general counsel, David Winters, cleared his throat. "Before we proceed, I should note that the family has instructed us not to cooperate with Mrs. Harrison in any way." Linda's mouth tightened. "And as I reminded them, I work for Harrison Industries, not for individual family members. The company's reputation is my concern, and right now, the speculation is damaging that reputation." Olivia appreciated the woman's professionalism. "What do you propose?" "A controlled release of information," Linda explained. "A statement confirming your marriage to Andrew, acknowledging your daughter, and establishing a simple narrative that respects both your privacy and the company's need for transparency." "What about the legal challenges?" Olivia asked. David looked uncomfortable. "That's a separate issue." "Not to the press, it isn't," Linda countered. "Every business publication is running stories about succession chaos and leadership crisis. We need to stabilize the narrative." For the next hour they hammered out a strategy. Olivia would do one carefully managed interview with a respected business publication, accompanied by a press release from the company. No details about why the marriage had been kept secret, no mudslinging against the family. Just the facts, presented with dignity. As they wrapped up, Linda walked Olivia to the elevator. "He talked about you, you know?" Olivia looked at her in surprise. "Andrew?" Linda nodded. "Not by name. But sometimes, late at night when we were working on a crisis, he'd mention having someone who kept him grounded. Someone who saw the real him, not the CEO. I always wondered who that person was." "He kept his worlds very separate," Olivia said softly. "Too separate, maybe?" Linda pressed the elevator button. "For what it's worth, I think he would approve of how you're handling this. With grace but also with strength." "Thank you." As the elevator doors opened, Linda added, "One more thing. Emma Harrison has been asking to meet with you. Off the record, away from the family." Olivia considered this. "Tell her to call me directly." Back at the penthouse, Olivia found Sophia and her nanny back from their trip to the park. The little girl ran to her, arms outstretched. "Mommy? We saw ducks." Olivia scooped her up. "Did you? That sounds exciting." "And Emma gave me ice cream." Olivia froze. "Emma? Emma was at the park?" The nanny looked apologetic. "She approached us near the playground. I wasn't sure what to do, but she was so nice. She just wanted to say hello to Sophia. I stayed right with them the whole time." Olivia set Sophia down. "It's okay. Emma is a friend. But next time, please call me first." After Sophia went down for her nap, Olivia's phone rang, an unknown number. "Hello. It's Emma. I hope you don't mind that I got your number. And that I saw Sophia today." Olivia sat on the edge of the couch. "I don't mind. Sophia seemed happy to meet you. She's amazing. So much like Andrew." Emma paused. "I wanted to talk to you about the family meeting tomorrow." "What family meeting? They didn't tell you?" "Of course they didn't." Emma sounded disgusted. "Marcus has called everyone together to discuss strategy regarding the will. I thought you should know." Olivia felt a headache building behind her eyes. "Thank you for the warning." It's more than that. I want to help you. Emma's voice lowered. What they're doing isn't right. Andrew obviously loved you both. The family is just, they can't accept change. Why are you taking our side? Because Andrew was the only one who ever saw me as more than just another Harrison obligation. He encouraged me to study art instead of business. He funded my gallery when the family refused. Emma's voice broke slightly. He was real. And if he loved you, that's good enough for me. They talked for another half hour, with Emma providing invaluable insights into family dynamics and the legal strategies being discussed. By the end, Olivia had a potential ally, and a warning about what was coming. The next day, as promised, Olivia did one carefully controlled interview with the Wall Street Journal. She kept her answers dignified and focused on facts. Yes, she and Andrew had been legally married for 8 years. Yes, Sophia was their biological daughter. No, she wouldn't discuss why Andrew had kept their marriage private. That had been his choice to make. When asked about the legal challenges to the will, she said simply, Andrew made his wishes clear. I hope his family will eventually respect that. The article ran 3 days later, accompanied by a photo of Olivia, Sophia, and Andrew at the beach house, a rare family picture taken by a timer. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Social media exploded with speculation and debate. News outlets picked up the story, running segments on the Harrison inheritance drama. But most surprisingly, public opinion seemed to be swinging in Olivia's favor. The image of the devoted wife and innocent child, hidden away by a man torn between love and family obligation, resonated with people. The Harrisons, with their obvious wealth and privilege, came across as cold and grasping by comparison. A week after the article appeared, Olivia received a call from James. The family wants to meet, he said without preamble, to discuss a settlement. Olivia wasn't surprised. The public relations disaster was growing by the day. What kind of settlement? They're offering $20 million. In exchange, you relinquish all claims to Harrison Industries shares and agree to change Sophia's last name. Olivia actually laughed. Not a chance. I told them you'd say that. Their fallback is $50 million and you can keep the penthouse. James, they could offer $1 billion and I'd still say no. This isn't about money. It's about respect. For me, for Sophia, and for what Andrew wanted. I'll relay your response. But be prepared, they're getting desperate. Things might get ugly. Uglier than they already are? Olivia sighed. Let them do their worst. We're not going anywhere. The next morning, Olivia woke to a flurry of text messages from friends. A tabloid had run a front-page story, Harrison widow's secret past revealed. The article dredged up old photos from her college days, made veiled references to past relationships, and quoted anonymous sources, who claimed she had trapped Andrew in order to access his fortune. Olivia felt sick reading it, but she refused to be intimidated. She called Linda Chin immediately. I assume you've seen it, Linda said when she answered. Yes. And I assume the anonymous sources are family members. Most likely. Unfortunately, tabloids don't have to verify sources the way legitimate publications do. Linda sounded apologetic. How do you want to handle this? We don't. We ignore it. Responding only gives it credibility. Smart move. For what it's worth, the family is taking a beating on this. Several major clients have expressed concern about the company's stability given the succession fight. The board is getting nervous. That afternoon, Emma called again. I'm so sorry about that garbage in the tabloid, she said immediately. It's disgusting what they're doing. Thank you. We're okay. There's something else you should know. Uncle Marcus got access to Andrew's medical records somehow. He's building a case that the cancer treatments affected Andrew's judgment when he made the will. Olivia gripped the phone tighter. That's ridiculous. And probably illegal. Definitely illegal. I overheard him talking to his attorney about it. I think you should tell James. After hanging up, Olivia called not only James but also her own newly hired attorney. Within hours, they had filed for an emergency injunction against the use of any illegally obtained medical records in the will contest. The judge granted it the next day, along with an order for Marcus to explain how he had accessed private medical information. It was the first real legal victory, and it sent a clear message. Olivia wasn't going to be bullied or outmaneuvered. 3 weeks after Andrew's death, as the legal battle continued to escalate, Olivia received an unexpected visitor at the penthouse. Elizabeth Harrison stood at her door, looking uncomfortable but determined. May I come in? She asked. Warily, Olivia stepped aside. Sophia is napping. That's fine. I wanted to talk to you anyway. Elizabeth entered, her eyes taking in the apartment, the space that had been Andrew's secret home for years. "This is lovely. Thank you. Would you like some tea?" Elizabeth nodded, following Olivia to the kitchen. Neither spoke as Olivia prepared the tea and set out cups. Finally, seated across from each other at the kitchen island, Elizabeth broke the silence. "I owe you an apology." Olivia waited, not making it easier for her. "What I said at the hospital about you and Sophia, it was cruel and unfair. I was shocked, but that's no excuse." "No, it isn't." Elizabeth sipped her tea, clearly struggling. "I've had time to think since then. To look at that picture in the article. To see how happy Andrew looked with you. He was happy. That's the thing." Elizabeth set down her cup carefully. "I can't remember the last time I saw him look like that around us. He was always so guarded, so formal. Like he was playing a role." Olivia's expression softened slightly. "He felt trapped by expectations. I'm starting to understand that." Elizabeth pulled something from her purse, a small photo album. "I found this in his office at the mansion, hidden in a false bottom of his desk drawer." She slid it across to Olivia, who opened it with trembling fingers. Inside were photos she'd never seen before, pictures Andrew had secretly kept of their life together. Sophia as a newborn. Olivia sleeping with their daughter on her chest. The three of them at the beach at Christmas on Sophia's birthdays. "He kept us with him," Olivia whispered, tears filling her eyes. Elizabeth nodded. "He loved you. That's obvious from these. And from the way he arranged everything to protect you both. Then why are you fighting us so hard?" "Because it's what Harrisons do." Elizabeth looked tired suddenly. "We fight to protect what's ours. It's how we were raised. But I'm starting to wonder if what we're protecting is worth the cost." She stood, smoothing her skirt. "I haven't told Marcus or the others that I came. They wouldn't understand. Not yet. But I wanted you to know that at least one of us is questioning the path we're on." As she headed for the door, she paused. "When Sophia wakes up, would you tell her that her Aunt Elizabeth said hello?" It was a small gesture, but a significant one. The first acknowledgement of family ties. "I will," Olivia promised. After Elizabeth left, Olivia called Emma to tell her about the visit. "Aunt Elizabeth?" Emma sounded shocked. "I never would have expected her to be the first to break ranks. People can surprise you. This could change things. If Elizabeth starts wavering, others might follow." That evening, as Olivia was giving Sophia a bath, her phone rang with an unfamiliar number. She almost didn't answer, wary of reporters who had somehow obtained her private contact information. But something made her pick up. "Mrs. Harrison?" a man's voice said. "You don't know me, but I worked with your husband for 15 years. I was his personal assistant." Olivia sat on the edge of the bathtub. "Robert? Andrew mentioned you often." He talked about me?" The man sounded surprised. "I didn't think he discussed his work with anyone outside the office. You were an exception. He trusted you completely." Robert cleared his throat. "That means a lot to hear. Listen, the reason I'm calling, there's something you should know. Something that might help with what you're going through now." Olivia listened as Robert explained. 4 years earlier, when Sophia was just a baby, Andrew had recorded a video. He'd asked Robert to keep it in a secure location, with instructions to deliver it to Olivia if anything ever happened to him. But with the chaos following Andrew's death and the family's immediate takeover of his office, Robert hadn't been able to access it until now. "I can bring it to you tomorrow," he offered. "Please," Olivia said. "And Robert? Thank you for honoring his wishes." After hanging up, she sat for a long moment, wondering what message Andrew had left for her, and why he had felt the need to create such a backup plan. Was it something personal meant just for her? Or was it something more? Something that could change everything? The package Robert delivered the next morning was small, just a USB drive in a sealed envelope with Olivia's name written in Andrew's distinctive handwriting. She thanked Andrew's former assistant profusely, noting how emotional he seemed about the task. "He was more than just a boss to you, wasn't he?" she asked gently. Robert nodded. 20 years together, through everything. He was family. He hesitated. "Mrs. Harrison, I want you to know that he talked about you. Not by name, not in detail, but I knew there was someone special in his life. Someone who made him happier than I'd ever seen him. That means a lot, Robert. Thank you." After he left, Olivia stared at the small drive in her palm. What had Andrew felt so compelled to record? What message had been so important that he'd created this backup, this insurance policy against a future he feared might come to pass? With Sophia at preschool for the morning, Olivia had privacy. She plugged the drive into her laptop and opened the single video file it contained. Andrew's face filled the screen, healthy and vital, recorded long before the cancer had begun its ravages. "Olivia," he began, his blue eyes looking directly into the camera. "If you're watching this, something has happened to me and I never found the courage to do what I should have done years ago. I'm sorry for that. More sorry than you can ever know." He shifted in his seat. She recognized the background as his private office in the penthouse. "I'm recording this message as insurance. Insurance that you and Sophia will be protected no matter what happens. That the truth will be known." He took a deep breath. "I've updated my will to provide for you both financially. James has all the necessary documentation of our marriage, Sophia's birth certificate, everything needed to prove your legal rights. But I know my family. They'll fight. They'll try to erase you, to pretend you never existed. They might claim I was coerced or manipulated or not of sound mind." His expression hardened. "So I want to state clearly and unequivocally that I, Andrew Harrison, am making these decisions of my own free will, with full mental capacity and after careful consideration. I love my wife, Olivia Johnson Harrison, and our daughter, Sophia Elizabeth Harrison. They are my family, my real family, and I want them to have everything I can provide." He paused, running a hand through his hair in a gesture so familiar it made Olivia's heart ache. "But this video isn't just about legal protection. It's about the truth. The truth of why I kept our marriage secret." He looked down briefly, then back at the camera with determination. "The Harrison family has a long history of controlling its members through financial pressure. When I was 20, I fell in love with a woman my family didn't approve of. When I refused to end the relationship, my father threatened to cut me off, to take away my position in the company, my inheritance, everything. I was young and ambitious. I gave in." Olivia flinched. Andrew had mentioned a previous relationship, but never in such specific terms. 10 years later, my brother Marcus faced a similar situation. His wife, his first wife, wasn't from the right background. The family made their disapproval clear. Eventually, the pressure destroyed their marriage. She left with a settlement but without her dignity. Marcus remarried someone the family approved of. Andrew's jaw tightened. "When I met you, Olivia, I knew immediately how my family would react. Not just because you're black, though that would certainly have been an issue for some of them, but because you're independent, strong-willed, unwilling to conform to their narrow expectations. I knew they would try to destroy what we had." He leaned closer to the camera. "So I made a choice. A selfish choice looking back now. I chose secrecy over confrontation. I told myself I was protecting you and our relationship, but the truth is I was protecting myself too. From their judgment, their interference, their inevitable attempts to control the situation." Andrew closed his eyes briefly. "I convinced myself it was temporary. Just until the right moment. Just until my father's health improved. Just until the company was more stable. Always just until. But the right moment never came because I never had the courage to create it." He opened his eyes, which now glistened with unshed tears. "I'm ashamed of that now. You deserved better. You deserved to be acknowledged, celebrated, introduced to the world as my wife. Sophia deserved to know her extended family, to be recognized as a Harrison. Instead, I kept you both in the shadows because it was easier than fighting." His voice grew stronger. "But I don't want to be that man anymore. I'm recording this as a promise, to you, to Sophia, to myself. Within the next year, I will tell my family the truth. I will introduce you properly. I will stop living this divided life." He smiled sadly. "If you're watching this, it means I failed to keep that promise. For that, I can only ask your forgiveness and hope that this message helps secure the future you both deserve." He leaned forward as if to turn off the camera, then stopped. "One more thing. If my family contests the will, if they try to paint you as some kind of opportunist, show them this. Show the world if necessary. Let everyone know that you were never the secret. You were the light I was too afraid to share." The screen went black. Olivia sat motionless, tears streaming down her face. It was as if Andrew had reached across time and death to speak directly to her heart, to acknowledge his failings, to reaffirm his love, to give her one final gift. The video wasn't just a declaration of his intentions. It was a powerful legal tool. No judge or jury could watch it and doubt Andrew's competence or his genuine desire for Olivia and Sophia to inherit. It was the ultimate insurance policy. She reached for her phone and called James. "I have something you need to see," she said simply. An hour later, James sat in her living room, having just watched the video twice. "This changes everything," he said. With this, their claims of mental incapacity or undue influence are completely undermined. Should we show it to them directly? Olivia asked. Before taking it to court? James considered the question. It might give them a chance to prepare a counter-strategy. On the other hand, it might convince some of the family to drop the contest entirely. Elizabeth is already wavering, Olivia told him about the surprise visit. And Emma has been supportive from the beginning. Marcus is the real obstacle, James said. He's driving this fight, and he has the most to lose if Harrison Industries shares go to Sophia's trust. Olivia made a decision. Set up a meeting. Just the immediate family, you and me. No other attorneys. Are you sure? Yes. It's time to end this. For all our sakes, but especially for Sophia's. She's lost her father. She shouldn't lose her father's family too. The meeting was arranged for the following evening at James's office, neutral territory. Olivia arrived early, the USB drive secure in her purse, her resolve firm despite her nerves. The Harrisons filed in like a funeral procession. Marcus and his second wife, Elizabeth, their younger brother Thomas and his husband, and their sister Catherine with her college-aged daughter Emma. They took seats around the conference table, their expressions ranging from open hostility, Marcus, to uncomfortable awkwardness, Thomas, to cautious neutrality, Elizabeth. James opened the meeting formally. Thank you all for coming. Mrs. Harrison has requested this gathering to share some information she feels might help resolve the current dispute. Marcus snorted. Unless she's withdrawing her fraudulent claims, I don't see what there is to discuss. Olivia met his gaze steadily. I understand your anger, Marcus. You believe I've appeared out of nowhere to claim what you see as your family's birthright. But I'm not a fraud, and neither is my daughter. We were Andrew's family for 8 years. He chose us, even if he didn't have the courage to tell you about that choice. Convenient that he can't verify that now, Catherine muttered. Actually, he can. Olivia placed the USB drive on the table. Andrew recorded this message 4 years ago and entrusted it to his personal assistant. He wanted to ensure that if anything happened to him before he found the courage to introduce us properly, his wishes would still be known. A tense silence fell over the room. James connected the drive to his laptop and turned the screen so everyone could see. Then without further comment he played the video. Watching the Harrisons' reactions was like witnessing a wave of emotional dominoes falling. Disbelief. Dawning comprehension. By the time Andrew reached his final words, "You were never the secret, you were the light I was too afraid to share," even Marcus looked shaken. When the screen went black, no one spoke for several long moments. Emma broke the silence. That was really him. The real Andrew. Not the corporate mask he always wore around us. Elizabeth nodded, dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. I've never heard him speak so genuinely, so emotionally. Thomas leaned forward, addressing Olivia directly for the first time. He really loved you. Yes, she said simply. And I loved him. Marcus stood abruptly and walked to the window, his back to the group. His wife watched him anxiously. Marcus, Olivia said softly. Andrew wasn't trying to hurt any of you. He was trying to protect what we had because he feared exactly what's happening now, a fight that tears everyone apart. He didn't turn around. You have no idea what's at stake here. I do actually. Andrew explained the company structure to me. The family voting block. The control you've maintained for generations. I understand why you see Sophia's inheritance as a threat. Now he did turn, his expression incredulous. He discussed company matters with you? We were married, Marcus. We talked about everything. Catherine leaned forward. What exactly are your intentions regarding Harrison Industries? Do you plan to take an active role? No. I have my own career, my own interests. I have no desire to run or even influence the company. But I do want Sophia to have what's rightfully hers when she's old enough to make her own choices. And in the meantime? Thomas asked. Who controls her voting shares? I do as her trustee. But I'm open to discussing arrangements that respect both Sophia's inheritance and the family's concerns about company control. The Harrisons exchanged glances, a silent communication born of lifelong familiarity. We need to discuss this privately, Marcus finally said. Of course. Olivia stood. Take all the time you need. But know this, I'm not going away and neither is Sophia. Andrew wanted us to be acknowledged and that's going to happen one way or another. I'd prefer it happen with your blessing rather than after years of costly, painful litigation. She walked to the door then paused. One more thing. Sophia asks about her father every day. She knows he had brothers and sisters, cousins, a whole family she's never met. Right now, all of you are just abstractions to her. You could be real people in her life, her family. That's what Andrew wanted. It's what I want too. After she left, she and James waited in his private office. You did well in there, he told her. That was exactly the right approach. Do you think it will make a difference? It already has. Did you see their faces when they heard Andrew speak so plainly? When he called you the light of his life. That video humanized you in a way no legal argument could have. An hour passed before James's assistant knocked to say the family was ready to continue. Olivia took a deep breath and returned to the conference room. The atmosphere had changed. The hostile front had fractured. Marcus still looked grim, but the others seemed more thoughtful, more open. We've discussed your situation, Marcus began formally. And we have a proposal. Elizabeth interjected. What my brother means is that we've been wrong. Seeing Andrew on that video, hearing him speak about you and Sophia, it forced us to confront some uncomfortable truths about our family. Thomas nodded. We've always prided ourselves on being the Harrisons, this powerful, united front. But at what cost? We drove Andrew to hide the most important people in his life. Marcus cleared his throat. That said, there are practical considerations regarding Harrison Industries. The company has been family-controlled for generations. Having Sophia's significant share potentially voted by someone outside the family creates legitimate governance concerns. I understand that, Olivia said. Our proposal is this, Marcus continued. A formal recognition of you and Sophia as legal heirs of Andrew. No contest to the will. Full inheritance as specified. Olivia waited for the catch. In exchange, we ask for a voting trust agreement regarding the Harrison Industries shares. You would retain ownership, but agree to have the shares voted by a committee of 3, you representing Sophia's interests, and 2 family members rotating annually. It was, Olivia had to admit, a reasonable compromise. Sophia's ownership would be acknowledged, but the family would maintain its controlling influence. I'd need to see the specific terms in writing, she said, and have my attorney review them. Of course, Marcus agreed. And I'd want something else, Olivia added. A real relationship between Sophia and her father's family. Regular visits. Holiday gatherings. A chance for her to know where she comes from. Elizabeth smiled tentatively. We'd like that too. Emma, who had been quiet, suddenly spoke up. Uncle Marcus, tell her the rest. Marcus looked uncomfortable. We'd also like to apologize. Publicly. For the way we've handled this situation. For any pain we've caused you and Sophia. Olivia hadn't expected that. Thank you. And, Catherine added, we'd like to establish a foundation in Andrew's name. Something to support causes he cared about. We thought perhaps you could help direct it, since you knew that side of him better than we did. It wasn't perfect. There would still be details to negotiate, lawyers to consult, papers to sign. But it was a beginning, an acknowledgement that Olivia and Sophia were part of the Harrison story now, whether the family had chosen it or not. I think Andrew would be pleased, she said softly. This is what he wanted. For all of us to find a way forward together. The tension that had dominated the room for hours finally dissipated. There were handshakes, tentative smiles, even a brief hug from Emma. As the family prepared to leave, Elizabeth approached Olivia. Would it be possible? Could I meet Sophia properly? Perhaps bring her a gift. Olivia smiled. She loves books and anything to do with space. She wants to be an astronaut. Elizabeth's eyes brightened. Andrew was obsessed with space as a child too. I have some of his old books in storage. Maybe she'd like those? I think she'd love them. As Olivia left the building, she felt Andrew's presence beside her, approving. The path ahead wouldn't be smooth. There would be adjustments, disagreements, the inevitable friction of different worlds colliding. But tonight, at least, she had won what mattered most. Recognition. For herself. For Sophia. For the love that Andrew had hidden for too long. No longer secret. No longer shadows. Just family. Complicated, imperfect, real. 1 year later. The garden of the Harrison estate bloomed with spring flowers as children raced across the manicured lawn. Sophia, now 5, led the pack, her curls bouncing as she ran from her cousins in an enthusiastic game of tag. Olivia watched from the terrace, a smile playing on her lips. A year ago, she couldn't have imagined this scene. Sophia fully integrated into the Harrison family, accepted and loved by the same people who had once tried to deny her existence. Penny for your thoughts, Emma said, joining her with 2 glasses of lemonade. Just marveling at how much can change in a year. Olivia accepted the drink gratefully. Thank you. Thank you, Emma countered. You could have destroyed this family. Instead you saved it. Olivia laughed. I think that's giving me too much credit. I don't. Emma's expression was serious. Before you forced us to confront the truth, we were just going through the motions, playing our assigned roles. Now, it feels like we're actually a family again. Across the garden, Elizabeth was setting up an easel for an art project with the younger children. Thomas and his husband were grilling on the patio. Even Marcus, still somewhat reserved, was making an effort. He'd spent the morning teaching Sophia how to fly a kite. The monthly Harrison Family Day had become a tradition in the past year, a time for all branches of the family to come together without business or obligations intruding. It had been Olivia's idea, a way to build the relationship she wanted Sophia to have with her father's side of the family. How are the renovations coming along? Emma asked, changing the subject. Almost finished. We move in next month. After careful consideration, Olivia had decided to sell the penthouse, too many bittersweet memories, and renovate Andrew's childhood home, a smaller property on the Harrison estate that had stood empty for years. It was a symbolic choice as much as a practical one, establishing their place within the family while maintaining independence. Sophia is excited about having a backyard, Olivia added, and being closer to her cousins. And how about you? Are you excited about the new position? Olivia nodded. The Andrew Harrison Foundation, established as part of the settlement, had grown rapidly over the past year. What had started as a modest family charity had evolved into a significant philanthropic organization, supporting arts education, medical research, and community development, all causes Andrew had quietly supported during his life. 3 months ago, the board, composed of both Harrison family members and independent directors, had unanimously voted to appoint Olivia as executive director. It feels right, she said, using Andrew's legacy to make a real difference. He would be proud, Emma assured her, of everything you've accomplished. Olivia's phone chimed with a text message. She checked it, smiling. Robert says the portrait arrived safely. They're hanging it in the boardroom now. Another part of the healing process, a portrait of Andrew commissioned for the Harrison Industries headquarters. Unlike the formal, stiff painting of him that had hung there previously, this one captured his warmth, his humor, his humanity. The artist had worked from family photographs, including several of Andrew with Olivia and Sophia. Will you be at the unveiling tomorrow? Emma asked. Of course. Sophia's excited about it. She helped choose which photo to use. Their conversation was interrupted by Marcus, approaching with uncharacteristic hesitancy. Olivia, could I speak with you for a moment? Emma excused herself, leaving them alone on the terrace. Is something wrong? Olivia asked. No, nothing wrong. Marcus seemed to be struggling with what to say. I've been meaning to tell you. The board reviewed the quarterly results yesterday. And? The initiatives you suggested for the foundation, particularly the scholarship program, they're making a difference. Not just for the recipients but for the company's reputation. Applications for positions are up 40%. Employee satisfaction scores have improved. Even our stock has seen a boost. Olivia smiled. I'm glad to hear it. But I doubt that's what you wanted to tell me. Marcus sighed. No, it's not. What I wanted to say is, you were right. About Andrew. About what he wanted. About how our family needed to change. He looked out at the children playing. Sophia has been good for all of us. She reminds me of Andrew when he was young, before the weight of expectations crushed his spirit. He would be happy to hear you say that. I was wrong about you, Marcus admitted. I thought you were a threat to everything we'd built. But you've actually helped preserve it, just in a healthier way. It was as close to an apology as Marcus would likely ever come. Olivia accepted it with a nod. Family was always the most important thing to Andrew, she said. Not the company, not the money. Just the people he loved. I'm trying to honor that. You're succeeding. Marcus hesitated, then added, there's something else. The voting trust agreement comes up for renewal next month. I've been thinking, perhaps we could modify it. Give you a greater say in how Sophia's shares are voted. Olivia raised an eyebrow. Really? What brought this on? You've proven yourself to be thoughtful about the company's interests. And, it's what Andrew would have wanted. Before she could respond, Sophia came running up, breathless and grinning. Mom? Aunt Elizabeth says we can do painting now. Come see. I'll be right there, sweetheart. She watched her daughter race back to the activity table. She has his eyes, doesn't she? And his smile. Marcus agreed. Every time I see her, I see him. The afternoon passed pleasantly, with art projects giving way to a family dinner on the lawn. As twilight approached, Catherine's husband set up a portable movie screen for the children. Sophia cuddled next to Olivia on a blanket, pointing excitedly as the night sky deepened above them. Look, Mom. The first star. That's Daddy winking at us. Olivia hugged her daughter close. Yes, it is. Later, after Sophia had fallen asleep in the guest room they were using until their new home was ready, Olivia stood alone on the balcony, looking out over the Harrison estate. So much had changed in a year. The pain of losing Andrew would never completely fade, but it had been joined by new joys, new connections, new purpose. From her purse, she took out the emerald ring Andrew had given her when he proposed. She'd stopped wearing it after his death, the memories too painful. Now, after careful consideration, she slipped it back onto her finger. Not as a symbol of what she'd lost, but of what she'd gained. What they'd built together. What would continue through Sophia. Her phone chimed with a reminder about tomorrow's portrait unveiling. The ceremony would mark another milestone in the integration of Andrew's two worlds, the family he was born into and the family he had chosen. For the first time, the Harrison Industries boardroom would display an image of Andrew that captured who he really was, not just the corporate mask he had worn for so long. It wasn't the way Andrew had planned to introduce them to his world. It wasn't the happy family future they had dreamed of together. But it was something real and meaningful, a legacy of love that had finally emerged from the shadows into the light. Olivia looked up at the stars, at the one particular star that Sophia had identified as her father. We did it, she whispered. They see us now. They know us. Just like you wanted. The star seemed to twinkle more brightly in response. Andrew keeping his promise to wink at them from heaven. Olivia smiled through her tears. Not all secrets were meant to stay hidden forever. Sometimes they needed to be revealed, not to cause pain but to heal it. To create connections where there had been divisions. To transform isolation into belonging. That had been Andrew's final gift to them all, the truth that set them free.